Hello everyone and welcome to this presentation video of the rules of Moonlight Brewer Triple Fermentation, the new game from Yeast Games. This game will be crowdfunded on Kickstarter during the full moon in October. What is Moonlight Brewer? It is a game where you will embody Trappist monks. The full moon is nigh. Because you are hunting the werewolf to put it in the beer, you will need to move around a monastery of hops to collect the highest quality ingredients possible to brew the best beer, the secret ingredient that hunts you, but that you can also hunt, and the werewolf, which also adds a unique flavor to your beer. Let me introduce you to the game board. We are in the Monastery of Hops. The Monastery of Hops is made up of tiles where we can spend the evening, where we move our monks, and where we can either gather ingredients or draw cards. In these cards, we can equip ourselves at the forge, search for equipment at the cabinet of curiosities, or seek blessings and curses from beer, the goddess. Of course, to find a werewolf and put it in your beer, you must hunt it down, chase it, and hope to defeat it. Each monk has a personal board containing 2 actions that can activate a tile, and 2 non-actions that cannot activate a tile. The first action is the simple action that allows you to move 1 tile and activate the action of that same tile by gathering a goo resource worth 1 point, or by drawing a card. The second action is the applied action, which does not allow movement, but enables an attempt to better activate the action of the tile. Where you are, make an individual noise, roll a die, and then report the result on the board. You will be able to gather a resource with up to 5 tips, or draw up to 3 cards. Next, you have 2 non-actions, meaning they cannot in any case activate the action of each tile. The first is movement. You move 2 tiles, no diagonals, or 3 tiles by making an individual noise, or 1 tile, before attacking another monk. The second is concentration. You can meditate and have more than 1 die for the next action. Applied. You can sober up and reduce your blood alcohol level by 2. Or you can hide and decrease your individual noise by 2. In Moonlight Brewer, you will need to collect resources or draw cards to help you do so, with the aim of earning taste points. These taste points correspond to victory points. We have a few examples. For instance, we can take hops, gather hops, which will be worth about 5 taste points. At the end of the game, the sum of all the taste points and all the ingredients needed for your beer will give you your total and your victory points, and you will know who brewed the best beer. But be careful, not everything is that simple. Because a great werewolf is lurking. He doesn't like noise very much, he doesn't like monks very much, and he is there to prevent you from making the best beer, and especially to stop you from attacking his poor little friends, the werewolves. This great werewolf will segment the game into 4 phases, and its phases will be activated by your actions. The more noise you make, the faster it will change phases, and thus attack you. I will now introduce you to some fundamental mechanisms and concepts of Moonlight Brewer. For example, in combat, whether against another monk, or against a werewolf that is attacking you, or that you are hunting, each of you will have to roll a die. This result can be adjusted by cards, such as the Armored Strainer, which can give a +1. For example, in combat, once the dice are rolled, we look at which result is the highest. That one is the winner. The winner of a combat gains a bonus for the final werewolf. The defeated player is propelled into another room and makes a noise. It hurts. Another concept is blood alcohol content. In your game of Moonlight Brouhaha, you will roll dice, whether to collect resources or to draw cards. Each time, if you don't like the result of the die, you can drink beers. For each beer consumed, you will receive a bonus on the die. Be careful. you can only drink 2 beers in a single action. And each time you increase your blood alcohol content, you will have to take an alcohol resistance test to avoid collapsing and making an individual noise. The alcohol resistance test is done with a die. Simply put, you need to roll higher than your blood alcohol content. If not, it's a failure. The monk falls, makes noise, and will be much more easily located by the werewolves. The concept of collective noise involves all the monks making noise, which will annoy the main werewolf. According to the werewolf, there are things that annoy him more or less. For example, the werewolf duck. Every time someone rolls a 6 on a die, every time a monk is injured or falls while dancing, or every time a monk is attacked by a werewolf, the collective noise increases. When the collective noise reaches a certain number, depending on the number of players present, we will change phases until the final phase, which is the 4th phase, where the werewolf will attack the entire monastery and signify the end of the game. The last concept I would like to talk to you about is the recipe. We are going to make beers according to well-known recipes. Today, it's luxury band beer. Tomorrow, we will brew the trolls. I just talked to you about the phases dictated by the hunter werewolf and the collective noise we make. And so, now I will talk to you about the recipes, which are also divided into 4 phases. We therefore follow the rhythm dictated by the hunter werewolf in our recipe. The goal is to try to place the ingredients in the corresponding phases as much as possible. We can add an ingredient in the current phase. We can also add an ingredient in advance for a future phase. However, it is impossible to add an ingredient in a past phase. For example, in this first phase, I managed to clean my tank well and add water. At the moment of finishing phase 1, I check if I have added my 2 ingredients. Yes. I am therefore allowed to place a rigor token that gives me a taste point bonus when I pass it. When I pass it. The phase. There you go. Let's imagine that I am in the phase, at the end of phase 3, and that I have only added one of the 2 necessary ingredients, in this case, the hops, and that marks the end of phase 3. I move on to phase 4. I didn't add the 2 ingredients, so I don't have the right to place my rigor token. I have no bonuses. At the end of the game, I check the number of rigor tokens I have. If I have at least 3, I can obtain the bonus from the recipe, which is at the top right, here, 2 points. And my final victory points will be the total of all the ingredients I have laid out on my recipe, plus the rigor bonuses, plus any werewolf duck bonus that I have hunted,